It's funny because when we were supposed to release the last time, we were concerned about the big films and getting your date and stuff. And now we're just like, it's us against COVID. It's a very different place to be.
A movie that was struggling to release in theaters for the past 2 years was the Rohena Gera directed film Is Love Enough, Sir? Finally, after crossing so many obstacles and more or less being showcased around the world in several international film festivals, Sir released in India in select theaters and shows in November of 2020. While many had the privilege and courage to watch this film in theaters due to the ongoing pandemic, the film had a disastrous run in cinemas with little to no takers. Everyone was awaiting the digital release of a film talked about by so many people as one of the best films of 2020 that was also one of the contenders for India's submission to the Oscars. And last weekend, Sir finally released on Netflix for everyone's viewing pleasure. Sir focuses on the unlikely attraction that grows between a domestic help and a wealthy architect in Mumbai. While the film may present itself as a simple storyline, it is elevated as one that is extremely memorable because of its attention to detail and treatment, shedding light on the apparent and undeniable social and class divide that exists in modern society and how what more or less constitutes a lot of what we do in life is being dictated by what others may think of us. The film starring Tilotama, Shome and Vivek Gomber is beautiful in so many ways. This is no ordinary love story. In many ways, it forces the viewer to question their preconceived notions of people and also check one's privilege in a society that technically is designed to provide equal opportunity to all. We understand from the onset of the film that this idealistic setup is far-fetched. We see Ratna leaving her village to come to Mumbai in a dilapidated bus and on to the crowded locals, only to help in the upkeep of a luxurious apartment in a high-rise building. The design of the house is much like the structure that lends this odd charm to a city like Mumbai. The opulent house is spacious and possesses expensive furniture, contrastingly different from the cramped and minimalistic servant quarter, much like the high-rise buildings of Mumbai that share close proximity with slums and hawkers. The contrast to the standard of life of both the characters living under the same roof is beautifully showcased. There are camera pans of the owner watching the news as the domestic help is watching an Indian serial. The ceramic cups in which tea is served is followed by the domestic help treating herself with the same tea, but in a steel cup. These are unsaid rules that we have seen all around us and have acknowledged as normal without questioning its discriminatory foundation. There are several instances throughout the film where Ratna finds herself in an uncomfortable situation, wondering what is acceptable and what may be perceived as crossing the line. A film that painfully represents also the way society is physically structured, where it has been assumed what kind of people are welcome. So whether it be a person of a specific strata walking into a designer boutique or where the subordinates of the family should have their meals, these are all structures we have identified and assumed as the norm. It also made me think about how humans are designed to highlight the grave injustice in our society in public, but do we lack basic human empathy of how we treat others in our own home? What I found so effective in the film is also the use of language as it should be in films. With success stories like Fauda and Dark, it is very clear to people that language is not a barrier anymore for global impact. Compelling stories are the ones that resonate with the masses. Hence, when I see a film like Sir, it accurately represents how characters, depending on who they talk to, speak in the language what would make most sense. So while Ashwin speaks to his friends and parents, he speaks in English and switches to Hindi when he speaks to his subordinates. Similarly, Ratna speaks in Hindi but switches to Marathi while speaking to her sister. The communication is natural and never seems forced. This was my biggest gripe with projects such as A Suitable Boy and the upcoming film The White Tiger, where the English language for characters born and brought up in India in a social setting where you know that is not the natural language of communication, dialogue seemed jarring to the ear. The original written text being in English is, in my opinion, a lazy text-to-screen adaptation issue, more than anything else. Sir gets the language in which the story is communicated spot on, a model I believe that the upcoming White Tiger also should have followed. I remember falling in love with Tilotama Shome when I saw her portray the role of Alice kiss in Monsoon Wedding. Possessing such sincerity in her eyes, she is an actor that has time and time again stood for compelling cinema that communicates rather than merely entertains. Tilotama inside and out becomes Ratna. Her body language and physical presence and understanding her boundaries working as a domestic help is exceptionally performed by the actor. What is also commendable regarding Ratna's character, which is more of a compliment to the beautiful writing of Rohena Gera, is that Ratna is never showcased to be a damsel in distress. She comes wide-eyed to a city like Mumbai, knowing very well the reality of how all the cards are stacked against her, but knowing the capability that she can still be an anomaly. Vivek Gomber as the affluent architect fighting his own personal battle lends a human and empathetic quality to Ashwin, something that was required for a character that could have easily been caricaturish. The scenes of both the characters individually and together represent the soul of this film. While one comes to the organized chaos that is Mumbai with boundless dreams and possibilities, the other, while staying in an opulent house and fairly successful, feels claustrophobic and bound in this madness. Progressively, you notice both the characters start to understand one another, maybe more than they could have ever envisioned. Little did a character like Ashwin know that in a life where he is surrounded by people, a person who might know him the most, truly understand him, is Ratna all along. The physical distance between both these characters keeps on decreasing as they become familiar with one another. The conversation between both of them highlight their upbringing and what is expected of them. Ratna beautifully tells Ashwin things that his closest friends couldn't. Conversations that make him check his privilege, and when put in contrast to a character like Ratna, still looking at life as a glass half full. Ashwin asks Ratna, "Bhagwan pe vishwas karte ho?" To which he says, "Karna padta hai." Sir, directed by Rohena Gera, is a very special film that should be viewed by all of you. Its commentary on our social structure, love, its expression and complications will truly resonate with many of you. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.